I'm going to admit, as soon as I encourage myself to just give myself one day a break, baby, all of a sudden, all I know is I'm back recording another reaction video every single time. It never fails. If you are new here, my name is Shaneria. This is Talking Crime, and on this channel, we do reaction videos. Today, we have a new reaction. Every time you see me, that means we have a new reaction video. So subscribe to the channel and join the family. Like, comment, and also share. And do me another favor. Hit that notification bell for every time I upload. You will get an alert. If you are returning, you already know how we like to do it. Let's get straight into today's tea.
So, 2018, my husband and I come back from New York for our anniversary. And this girl's in our home. My son got her there. And he said that she was going to stay for the weekend. So we were like, okay. Once the weekend was over, she's still there. We get her information. She said her name was Emiliana. Her friend was supposed to come and pick her up. This kept on going on for days. So finally we're like, okay, it's time for you to go. And she sits down with me, tells me that her mom kicked her out. She didn't have anywhere to go. Her stepfather was molesting her, watching her get out of showers and stuff, and her mom was allowing it. I have a soft spot for children, of course. I have 8 of them myself, and I love children. So this broke my heart. I allowed her to stay for a little while longer. Well, this little while longer went on for 7-8 months, and she just found every excuse in the world not to leave my house. I've tried several times at this point to get her out of the house, called the cops, so forth. They said she had squatter rights. She just wouldn't leave. She ended up being like this liar, just a bad liar, and she will lie to your face. Even with evidence being there, she will still look at you right in your face and lie about things. We found her, sending nudes to guys while my son was at work. She told my son the whole time that her phone was broken. She caught herself smoking weed with my 14-year-old daughter at the time, lied to my son and said that was my daughter's idea, got her in trouble. Just a lot of BS, and I couldn't seem to get rid of this girl. At one point, she left finally, and then hitchhiked her way back to my house with her mom's stolen credit card, and I had people knocking at my door. I mean, it was just a big, huge mess. So fast forward all the way to the month that we kicked her out. I kicked her out. Her and my son was working full-time at Burger King, and he was a minor, so they stopped giving him hours, and she was not a minor, so they kept her on full-time. Well, my son found out that she was having sex with one of the guys that she worked with at Burger King. He reached out to my son's like, hey, your girl's a hoe. I didn't after this many times, and whatever. My son was heartbroken. He actually cried to me, but he wanted to forgive her, and I'm like, no, she needs to get out of my house. I mean, there's been so many incidents where it's just time for her to go down. And so I kicked her out. I made phone calls. I contacted her grandmother. Her grandmother told me that she had a mental issue ever since she was a little girl. Her mother really didn't have anything to do with her, and that she raised her. However, that this girl, well, first, her real name was not Emiliana, it was Emily, and she stole over $17,000 from her grandfather, and her grandfather kicked her out, said, if you step foot on this property again, we will call the cops. So then at that point, she went with her mom and stole her mom's car and got pulled over, had possession of weed, got on probation, ended up with a warrant for her arrest. And she had been at my house. I found out that she was on the run. She had a warrant for her arrest. So I said, well, at this point, she's going to be homeless. I don't care. I want this girl out of my house. You guys as a family need to figure out what you're going to do. And then she took a bunch of pills that was in my medicine cabinet. She told my son, well, if I can't have you, I don't want to live. My son was, of course, very scared. He begged me to take her to the hospital. I then called the cops and said, hey, you guys need to do something about this girl. You know, number one, we live in a predominantly 90% like a neighborhood where it's just predominantly white people, and we're like the only colored family in the area. And I said, you know, she happens to do anything to herself of that nature and unalive herself, of course we would be the ones to be looked at. So at this point, I'm like, this is not okay. So I did tell her grandmother, I did tell her mother this. Well, I didn't speak directly to her mother, but her grandmother told her mother this, and her mother finally agreed to come and get her. Well, the day that her mom came to get her, we made sure that she had everything out of the house. I didn't want anything left behind because of how hard it's been to get rid of this girl and her keep coming back. The cops explained if she leaves at her own free will, then I didn't have to legally evict her, and she would then have given up her squatter's rights and just to not let her come back. So I made sure everything was taken. So then at this point, she was gone. I find out her mom took her to jail the same exact day she came to pick her up. Because later on that night, she started calling my son from jail, and she had gotten 30 days in jail, and she did those 30 days. She called my son over 100 times, and the day that she got out, she brought the cops to my house. I was not home. My husband and I was not home, and my oldest son was watching the kids for me. So when the cops came, they brought my son on the porch. My son called us on speakerphone, and they said that they wanted to ask him questions and stuff. We said no, we're on our way home. We'd be there in about 15 minutes, and we'll bring our lawyer, and then at that point you guys could speak to the lawyer. The cops did not like that, and they hung up on me, and then they had this girl in the car, told my children and us, because my husband was on another phone call on speakerphone, and the cop says, well, she's here to come and pick up some things. And we said no, she took everything she owned. She does not have anything in our house. Do not let this girl in our house. The cops did not care. They let her in our house with us not there, without our permission. Wouldn't let my son go upstairs, so she was free to go upstairs and get whatever she wanted. So when we did get home, they took my son to jail while we weren't there, and I had to pay $10,000 to get my son out of jail. And when he got home, he seen that all the letters that she wrote him while she was in jail was gone. His Cartiers was gone. $3,000 was taken, and his coat, his ID, just other little things that was his. So the cops basically assisted her in a robbery and a home invasion at this point. So we told our lawyer about that, and he says, well, at this point, because it's such a racist county out there, just call and file a complaint. Well, the complaining officer that came was one of the guys who brought her over here. So anyways, we end up having to go to court. They charged him with originally they charged him with 4 things, and then it went to the prosecutor's office, and they hiked it up And Allegan is known for hiked up charges. They hiked it up for 8 charges total, 7 felonies and 1 misdemeanor. And what they came up with, this girl's story was so horrendous and so monstrous. You have to stick around for part 2 and hear the rest of the story. It will blow your mind.
Crazy work. It's so many things that the police failed this mother and son. It's so many fucking things. First of all, he was a minor, so how could y'all take him without his parents even being there yet? How could y'all let that girl search the house? And how y'all not know that they've been trying to get her out if y'all came several times before and said that basically she has squatter rights? Like, nobody pulled records of how many times the mother called the police to get her out, to get her away from the house. Nobody's seen that she just got out of jail doing 30 days. Nobody's seen none of that. Like, that is crazy work. And for her mother to believe what she said, knowing that her daughter have lied, stealed, and everything else from her family, is crazy. But I understand, she's a mother. Her daughter tell her something like that, she's going to report it. That's what a mother does. But come on now, you can't say that your daughter never lied about stuff like this before. I mean, she lied to strangers saying that you allowed your boyfriend to touch on her, watch her get out the shower, and so much more. Like, yes, the police failed this family tremendously.
Part 2 to my son's story. So they ended up charging my son with strangulation, torture, wrongful imprisonment, intent to do bodily harm. I mean, it was so many things. I can't even remember all the things that they charged my son with. Again, he's only 17 at the time of this, and we hear her statement on what happened. Well, come to find out, she told her mom that her mom was also racist, that my son had imprisoned her. She couldn't eat. She went days at a time without eating. She was locked in the room. However, I had to show exactly what our upstairs looked like. And it's impossible to lock anybody in the room because the lock is on the inside. That he would pour pee on her every single day. However, she worked a full-time job at Burger King, and the guy that she was caught cheating with, he raped her, which she admitted on the stand that was a lie. She lied on him too. And that my son would beat her, take her to the shed, beat her on mattresses, and just the most craziest things you can ever imagine. And everything, I mean, there was no investigation. No cops ever came over here to speak to my son or to speak to the family. My husband and I own a business. We work from home. So we're here 90% of the time, unless we're going grocery shopping or something like that. My kids were doing online school at the time. So I had 8 kids, six at the time. This was a house full of people. Okay, I had 4 children living upstairs with them. Okay, and she also claimed that my son raped her, and did a bunch of other things, but they were in this. She was living here in my home in a, consensual relationship with my son. So, there was never no investigation, like I said. Cops never came here, pulled up no carpet, checked for pee, never looked for these scissors or belt buckles that she claimed he beat her with, never did anything at all. We were the one to provide the pictures of the home, how my home is laid out, of the shed. She claimed to have slept in the dead winter in Michigan and survived. And, you know, nothing. They just literally took her word. She took pictures of bruises. However, she spent 30 days in jail since she left my house. Who keeps bruises on their body for 30 days and then be able to come home and take pictures of these bruises and then they be used as evidence? Okay. And then the cops, it was her mother who made this report, where we already know. One of the last conversations that they had, my son and her had on the phone while she was in jail, was, you have to lie to your mom or something because I don't have anywhere to go. I need to be able to come there. So just lie to her and tell her I never cheated on you. My son says, I'm sorry. My mom is not going to let you come back to our house. I'm sorry. He says you have to lie. You have to do whatever you have to do to get in good with your mom or your grandma because my mom's not going to let you come back here. Well, he never thought in a million years she was going to make up these types of lies to get in good with her mom so she'll have a place to stay. So she made her mom believe that he was doing all of these horrific things to her so she would feel sorry for her and let her daughter stay. But when she heard her daughter say all these things, she called the cops, just as any mother would do, and reported this stuff. Well, the cops here, being arrogant and racist, they're like, well, can you get her to come down here and say this about him? And her mom made her. And the cops was like, well, with her statement, with her saying this, then we can press charges against him. So, after that, she was calling my son, she was calling me, she was saying sorry for lying, she didn't want any of this to happen, but she didn't want to come clean at this point because she was afraid, she didn't want to go to prison, all of this stuff, and I had him out on bond, so I didn't want to, him to break his bond or get his bond revoked. So I denied her to be able to see my son, and she's just calling me, begging me to let her see him. And at this point, I'm just like, no, not at all. So I paid for 2 lawyers at the time and went to a preliminary hearing, and the judge caught her lying so many times. He threw out all of those big charges that they had, and including like the torture, the wrongful imprisonment, all of that stuff. He took all of that out. Well, he bounded over the CSC charges. Now, it happened to go to circuit court at that point, and the judge, the most crooked judge in Allegan, the most racist judge in Allegan, it went to Margaret Baker. She was prosecutor for CSC cases. Anybody who has ever gone in front of her for CSC has been found guilty. So at this point, the prosecution was to get 30 days to file for, to try to reinstate those charges. Well, guess what? It went past those 30 days, but Judge Baker, she says, I'm going to still allow it, and I'm going to reinstate all of the charges the first judge just took out because it says that this happened in her statement. So I don't see what the credibility issue could have been. Well, the first judge spent 2 days listening to her on the stand, which she hadn't even listened to her at that point. Didn't care what the first judge said. She reinstated all of those charges. So it had to go to trial. The judge says, well, I want this trial over in 3 days. It was 10 Caucasian men, 2 Caucasian women in the jury. Every piece of evidence that we had over 100 phone calls of her saying the complete opposite of what she claimed happened to her in this house. Judge Baker wouldn't allow those phone calls to be played to the jury. We had pictures, we had videos, my son was a rapper, so he would record everything. He literally had videos on Snapchat of them every single day. There's no bruises, there's no locked up, there's no torture, there's no anything of that nature. It's just two young people having fun, smoking weed, rapping, making videos, just regular relationship stuff. And she wouldn't allow that. She wouldn't allow none of the pictures. And then during that time, my son ended up getting another girlfriend, and then she really got mad and she really went in. So her story of, oh, I'm afraid I'm going to get in trouble for telling the truth, turned into, oh yes, he really did this stuff to me. And she went full force at trying to get him in trouble. She was even reaching out to people saying, let's get his bond revoked. And we had all that as evidence too. Like, she was literally plotting to try to get him to revoke his bond and get him locked up on other charges. So, after all of that happened during the trial, we actually seen the Judge Baker. She was bringing cookies to one of the prosecutors on the day that it was given to our attorney to plead for my son's life. And at that point, we seen, and the Judge Baker was actually accused of working with the prosecution, and they were doing an active investigation on her at that point. So with all of this happening, and the prosecutor or the judge was fighting with our lawyer more than the prosecutor. Well, he did lose his case.
This is crazy. In situations like that, in counties and stuff like that, I feel like these type of situations needs to go further outside of the county, not in the area where judges are being investigated and people are working together. These type of cases need to go above those judges. And how in the world a judge going to override something that was thrown out at first and override it and put it back in? Like, when it comes to your court, leave whatever was handled in another court, leave it completely out. Like, why put it back in? What was the point? What was the point of not even listening to her to see what the other judge felt like she was not consistent with? Like, what? Like, this judge definitely needs to be out if she's still in, or she needs to be investigated, especially for this case. I kind of think the mother should have came out with this story. I feel like she's telling the truth. Any mother would defend her child at all costs, especially if it's a lie. And I feel like the world needs to know her son's story. So that's why I'm sharing it on this platform, as well as other people are sharing it. Like, this is crazy. And if people realize it or not, this been happening for years. So
my son was sentenced to 23 years to 60 years. And this is truly a mother's worst nightmare. I have paid for over 5 lawyers. I have paid over $250,000 paying for lawyers for my son, and we've got one shot left, and we're just begging and hoping that this girl would just come clean and just tell the truth. And at this point right now, she's got a black boyfriend, so I know that she's got to save face in front of him and his family, because if they found out what she really truly did, I don't think that she'd be in that relationship right now. But it's just a horrible feeling to know that your child's life is in the hands of a lawyer. To find someone who actually cares about helping versus just looking at this case like a check. Right now, I've got him one of the best top lawyers in Michigan for an appeal. So I am praying in the name of Jesus that everything is going to work out with this appeal. Again, he was 17 when this happened. He's 23. He's about to be 24 now. He is, I'm the only one that's been there for him through this whole ordeal. And it hurts. It hurts to be the only one there for him during all this. He has a daughter that he's never met in person. She really misses her daddy. She wants to see her daddy. She wants to meet her daddy. As of right now, she's calling a whole nother man daddy. And it breaks his heart. And, he actually had a record deal before he was locked up, before his life was taken from him. They were trying to get him to California. And there were several music labels reaching out to him. And it's just, his life was taken from him at 17. And I've been fighting ever since to get it back. So if you are interested in reaching out to him, I know that would mean a lot. He is looking for pen pals and, people just vibe with and talk to. He is a man of God, and he is still looking up, staying positive. And his name is Tyrion Henriquez. I will leave his information in the information below. His number is 672-344. And any positivity, any help, that would be great. And we are still fighting. We are still believing. And he does have a lawsuit. We have lawsuits. And as soon as we get him home, we will be leaving Allegan. Allegan is the worst place to raise anyone of color. And if I would have known that, I would not have bought a house here. I was just looking for a house big enough for my big family, and I wanted to get my son out of the city and away from drugs and gang violence and things like that. And he got caught up in this anyway. So it's really sad. It's a horrible story. I stay prayed up. I stay talking to him every day. We stay prayed up, and I would just like for his story to be shared, because no person should have to go through this. His trial lawyer said this was a real life 2026 lynching. They lynched my son. And he just looked at my son like another paycheck, but he disguised himself under caring. He acted like he cared, but yet he allowed the judge to do everything she could do that was corrupt. And that was just evil. It was wrong to play with people's lives like that. So, you share this story. People deserve better. We deserve real justice.
To me, I feel like that whole damn town need to be thrown out. Because if this is a ongoing thing where the judge is being investigated and still haven't got out of her position, people still voting for her, like, that is crazy work. The thing is, this is modern day lynching. Like, how can y'all not properly investigate the people that was in the household? The household investigate to see where this stuff supposedly occurred at, and get statements from her family of what type of character this young lady is. Because obviously she done did so much, stealing money, accusing her mother's boyfriend, the whole 9 yards, just to stay with this family. The mother called y'all several times to get this young lady out her house, and still y'all would not make her get out because squatter rights, what? And she was older than her son. So this bitch should have been going to jail any fucking way. Like, there's no way she shouldn't have went to jail for talking to a minor. And not only that, I understand people, we have soft hearts when it comes to children. But then you have to think, like, should I believe this? Like, never let your children lay up in your house, whether it's male or female. No, they cannot stay. They have to go 2 nights. They can visit, but they have to go 2 nights. Like, it's our job to protect children, but at the same time, look out for our own kids. Like, This situation went right. The first day, she should have not been allowed to spend a night. And now, unfortunately, because she had a soft heart for someone else's child, her child is now in prison on false intents. Didn't even get the chance or the proper investigation to even get him out of this. Like, this is so crazy. Like, what mother wants to go through something like this? We work hard to protect our children. We don't want them in the streets. We don't want them to go to jail for drugs. We don't want them to join gangs and get killed. We don't want any of that. So when you move your children out, you thinking you doing it for the best. And in this case, unfortunately, it literally destroyed her son's life. Even if he get out, he's going to have a lot of trauma because of this. He's not going to trust women. He's going to, every time you turn around, feel paranoid. Like, is they going to lie on me? Like, this is nothing that no parent, no child at 17 should go through. Any age should go through a type of lie like this. I feel so sorry for this mother, especially her son. And hopefully this time, Father God, please work your magic in the blood of Jesus. Help this young man out, especially if he's innocent, Lord. Like, let this be the time of freedom. I done seen you work miracles, Lord. Please, Lord, cover him, watch over him, protect him, and release him this time, Lord. When I say this is heartbreaking, this is heartbreaking. From a mother to a mother, please, y'all, please protect your children at all costs. I remember my cousin going through something like this. He was dating a girl. Everybody knew he was dating a girl, even at school. The girl would invite him over. Come to find out, she was inviting him over every day because her dad was at work and he was a sheriff, right? One day her dad came home early and my cousin was there. And this girl lied out her mind, saying he forced his way in and forced himself on her. The whole time, for a year and something, they had been dating. If he didn't have receipts at school, them dating and him already been coming over and stuff like that, and if she finally didn't admit that she lied, he would have been in this same situation, in this same boat. Yes, a white girl. Yes, they will say anything and everybody in this world will believe what they said. So be very careful. Very careful. You guys, drop down in the comment section if you or a family member ever experienced this. What would you feel as a mother in this type of situation? Don't forget to subscribe if you are new here. Like, comment, and share. And if you are returning, y'all know how we like to do it. Y'all know how we like to do it. Like, comment, and share this video. I hope you all have a blessed day. Peace.